Ukraine has unveiled its most lethal weapon yet, the Flamingo. A homegrown cruise missile carrying a 1.1-ton warhead and flying 3,000 kilometers deep into Russia. Built in just 9 months, it marks Kyiv's answer to wavering Western guarantees, striking back on its own terms. As factories churn and Moscow scrambles, one question looms. Is Flamingo just a missile or Ukraine's new game changer? While Ukraine's allies twist themselves into knots over how to provide it with security guarantees, Kyiv is moving ahead with its own way of keeping Russia at bay. A new cruise missile able to hit all of European Russia, carrying a massive warhead weighing more than a ton. When a Ukrainian-made drone attacked an ammunition depot in Russia last September, it showcased Kyiv's determination to strike deep behind enemy lines and the prowess of its defense industry. The moment was especially gratifying for the woman in charge of manufacturing the drones that flew more than 1,000 kilometers to carry out this mission. For months after, Russia no longer had the means to keep up devastating glide bomb attacks like the one that had just targeted her native city of Kyiv. That's the Flamingo FP-5 missile, developed by Ukraine's Firepoint Defense Company, a fast-growing producer of combat drones that have become a key weapon in the war against Russia. The company this year completed testing of its first cruise missile, the FP-5. With a range of 3,000 kilometers and an accuracy margin of just 14 meters, the FP-5 ranks among the largest missiles of its kind, capable of carrying a 150-kilogram payload, according to independent experts. Early production glitches gave the missile its enduring nickname, the Flamingo, after faulty paintwork left the first units bright pink. From her office overlooking rows of newly assembled deep strike drones, CEO and Technical Director Iryna Terekh spoke to reporters, surveying the weapons before sitting down for an interview.
The maximum range is 3,000 kilometers confirmed, with an accuracy of 14 meters to target on this distance. The maximum speed is 900 kilometers per hour. The cruise speed can vary, and this I will not disclose, and the payload capacity is at the moment 1,150 kilograms. It was 1,000 in the very beginning, but then we found a spot on how to enlarge it a little bit. And the overall MTOV of the missile is 6 tons. It's been launched with a solid rocket propellant and then goes with a turbojet engine of our own production, as well as a solid rocket booster production is also our own production.
The goal is to match, if not outmuscle, Russia's capabilities, and Firepoint is one of the companies leading the way. The Associated Press was granted an exclusive look inside one of Firepoint's dozens of covert factories. In a sprawling warehouse where rock music blared, executives showed off their signature FP-1 exploding drones that can travel up to 1,600 kilometers. They also touted publicly for the first time a cruise missile they are developing that is capable of traveling 3,000 kilometers and which Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky hopes will be mass-produced by the end of the year. Even as US President Donald Trump presses for an end to the 3.5-year war and dangles the prospect of US support for NATO-like security guarantees, Ukrainian defense officials say their country is determined to become more self-sufficient in deterring Russia. Ukraine's government is now purchasing about $10 billion of weapons annually from domestic manufacturers. Trump seems to be more open to Ukraine hitting back at Russia. In a social media post on August 21st, the US president wrote,
"It is very hard, if not impossible, to win a war without attacking an invader's country. It's like a great team in sports that has a fantastic defense but is not allowed to play offense. Interesting times ahead."
According to the Associated Press, the industry has the capacity to sell triple that amount, and the officials believe sales to European allies could help it reach such potential in a matter of years. Like most defense companies in Ukraine, Firepoint grew out of necessity after Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022. A case in point, Firepoint had initially sourced navigational equipment for its drones from a major Western firm, but before long, Russia was able to disrupt their effectiveness using electronic warfare, so Firepoint developed its own software to counter the enemy. The company now makes 1 Flamingo per day and are pushing for more production. A launch video shows the fixed-wing buzz bomb being fired from a platform and arcing into the sky on a tail of yellow fire. By revealing Flamingo now, Terekh signaled confidence in Ukraine's own defense industry, while also sending a warning to Moscow that new capabilities are already in play on the battlefield.
We did not want to go public with this one, but it seems to be the right time. Flamingo is the long-range cruise missile that can carry a 150-kilogram warhead and fly into Russia for 3,000 kilometers. We came up with it pretty fast. It took less than 9 months to develop it from an idea to its first successful tests on the battlefield. I will not tell you about its exact speed, but I can say it's faster than all the other missiles we currently have. It is completely Ukrainian-made.
Although Russian air defenses are capable of knocking down such threats, Ukraine is very good at running complex operations with overlapping swarms of drones and missiles to overwhelm the Russians. If they can get through and hit targets in Russia's rear, the Flamingo poses a deadly threat and providing protection shield to Ukraine and European allies.
It's a huge guarantee of Ukraine independence, and not only Ukrainian independence, but also European independence and European safety of the whole continent, because right now Ukraine is holding this barrier. And let's say it's exporting safety to other countries which are standing behind Ukraine.
Heavier weapons have a much greater impact. Ukraine's June attack on an oil refinery in Tuapse used an R-360 Neptune cruise missile carrying a 150-kilogram warhead. It caused a fire that took 3 days to extinguish. The Flamingo would be even more devastating.
All I can say is that Flamingo's success is significant. Of course, we're still exploring the maximum capabilities. The existing drones are partly responsible for airport closures and high gasoline prices in Russia.
If Flamingo goes into full production, it could dramatically affect the balance of power between Kyiv and Moscow. TASS, the state-owned press agency, put out an article this week playing down the threat posed by the missile, belittling it as being based on a design from a British firm, something the Ukrainians deny, and trying to undercut Ukraine's technical prowess.
We watched the Russian reaction to our first missions, and I can tell you the more successful the mission was, the more Russians tried to choke all publicity around it.
The Flamingo is now in serial production, aiming for about 200 a month. Terekh explained how this new drone tech differs from Shahed.
The result of the overall technical characteristics is not much different from a Shahed. Of course, it has different construction, but the function is the same, despite that the FAR has a little bit of bigger payload and is a little bit more advanced in terms of precise hit to a specific target. And also, it's 5 times cheaper than Shahed, which is very small for our country, which is not as rich, and we are relying on financial help from partners as well very much.
The goal with systems like Flamingo is to ensure that Russia is unable to continue the war and won't attack again once a peace agreement is finally signed. While Flamingo is important for Terekh, the key to keeping Ukraine independent is to be fully armed with Ukrainian weapons that have already proven themselves to be the most effective on the battlefield.